Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe.
Why do you have Zimbabwe?
Well, hold on. Stealing my question. Oh, I love it. I love it. Let's shoot. I'm ready to shoot.
This is an actual, legit, 100% Bitcoin miner. So this is, we haven't got to mining, but this is how they stop funny business with this blockchain.
Okay. All right. That's a blockchain
miner.
Got it.
So this is a little thing that you can, they don't use these anymore, but there's a little thing that you can plug into your computer and you can do this mining thing. We can say that for another one because it's a little more complicated.
Okay, good.
Basically what the deal is there's a loophole with this hash thing. Mm-hmm. What the loophole is that the hash thing means that the record itself is immutable.
Right.
You can't fool with it, or if you do, everyone's going to know that you messed it up.
Right.
The catch is...
Now, when you say everyone, you mean everyone in your company or everyone in the world?
Anyone in the world with a computer can go through all this complicated math.
Yeah.
They can add up 10, they can multiply 10 and 10 and get the 1.
Right.
And they can multiply 5 and 5 and get the 7.
Yeah.
And they can add those up and see that they're not the same. Okay. So this is not, it's not like
this is a device that can track that?
Yes. So the simplest way to put it is yes, this is a device that can track that. Okay. The slightly more complicated answer is this just lets you create one chain of these transactions that's immutable.
Okay.
What jokers like to do.
Jokers.
Or excuse me, if you were trying to scan it,
right?
What you would do is get yourself a real big computer that can do a lot of these real quick, and you would create an entire second chain where the books are cooked.
Okay.
And now
so exposing the cookbooks.
Yes.
Okay.
So this exposes which books are the cooked books and which books are the real books. And it's getting a little bit complicated.
Okay.
But the trick is because there's no Visa.
Right.
Because there's no one in charge of Bitcoin.
Right.
If you were trying to scan it, you can get yourself a big computer. You can make a books cooked chain which adds up to 7 instead of the real one which adds up to 1, just for example.
Yeah.
And then say my chain is the real one.
Oh, deceptive. That's why they're jokers.
That's why they're jokers.
Right.
They're being deceptive. So this is how they tell which is the real one.
Okay, good.
And this it's a complicated thing. We don't have to get too far into it.
Right.
But the trick is how the inventors of Bitcoin, or the inventor or inventors, plural, of Bitcoin, solved this problem of keeping these jokers and their fake chains out of here.
Yeah.
Is by saying you have to solve a math problem in order to add a new block on there.
Okay.
And that takes up electricity. You got to run a lot of electricity through these. Yeah, you can do that. You got to run a lot of electricity through these special chips. They're called ASICs, and ASIC stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuit. And this is a chip that's only designed to solve these special math problems.
Got it. Now what we're going to do, we're going to come back to this one because this is like a whole nother topic, but it's nice to know that even in this very secure situation, and I am I would have to say this, in all things in life, there's a rule and there's an exception to the rule. And this sounds like this is the exception to the rule.
Exactly.
Right? And then we can learn a lot in life by understanding the exception to the rules to life. So this is good. Exactly. We're going to come back to this.
Yes, we're going to come back.
All right, now Nick, hold on now. Because I can feel this now. Back in the day, my mom, sometimes her palms would itch, and then she thought that it would, she said money's on its way. That's what it meant. Have you heard that before? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. So my palm is itching right now, and I feel like there's some money in the way, like in big figures right now.
There is.
So what do we got over here?
We got some big figures.
See, look at this.
This is
this. Right here. For those of you that can read this, right here, it is $10 billion. Okay, so Elon Musk, get out of my way. Okay, get out of here, bro, because I got one bill that would wrap you up. I got $10 billion. That means my hand is itching. I have an itchy hand. And can you please explain how we acquired? This is what happens when I invest in Bitcoin?
No, well, yes, but no.
Yes, but no.
So this is not a joke bill. This is a real says Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. Okay.
And the reason that and this is worth less than $1. Now the reason this happened is because the government of Zimbabwe was in trouble.
Okay, hold on, just stop. I got excited. I saw the $10 billion.
Yeah.
And
that feeling that you're feeling right now,
yes,
is what regular people are going to be feeling when they hear about inflation, and when they start seeing their money inflate away.
Apologize to Elon Musk.
Seriously, I seriously was about to change my nationality. I wanted to get this $10 billion, but this $10 billion, as Nick says, is worth less than $1 American dollar.
That's true.
Wow.
It's too bad.
It looks like they were good, and then after a week or so. Alright, so this is going to diminish to...
That won't make it to the cut, I'm sorry.
Alright, so what happens with this? This is going to turn into this.
No.
Oh.
This is going to turn it the other way around.
Okay.
This is going to turn into this.
Okay, alright.
The trouble is, let's take this away from the government of Zimbabwe real quick, and let's take it to a regular, everyday person.
Okay.
Regular, everyday person is seeing a lot of bills pile up.
Yes.
And that they can't pay all these bills.
Yes.
This is probably a very familiar situation.
Yes.
Regular, ordinary people often turn to short-sighted means to pay bills that are piling up.
Okay.
And for regular, everyday people, this means credit cards.
Okay.
It means that they are going to take their Visa.
Yeah.
They are going to swipe it. They are going to get in a lot of debt,
Okay.
trying to stay afloat in the short term.
Now, when you say stay afloat, do you mean they're going to take the Visa and just pay regular bills, or are they kind of splurging a little bit, going to Costco, getting an 85-inch TV? You know what I mean? Maybe buying a secondary car.
A little bit of both.
Okay. All right.
I shouldn't say never, but in general, it's not 100%. Oh, I'm just splurging on luxuries I don't need. It's not 100% just going out and paying the water bill on Visa.
Right.
It's usually a little bit of both.
Sometimes people need a little extra money to make the ends meet.
Exactly.
So, like when my property tax come up and it hit me with that, that's a lot of money at one time that I don't have necessarily in my back pocket.
Exactly.
So I might go ahead and put it on my Visa or whatever the case is to float me until a bigger sum of money comes by.
Precisely.
Meanwhile, my debt is piling up. $5,000, $6,000, $16,000,
Exactly.
$23,830.22. That's just a figure that came. But yeah, okay, yeah. So then now I have this up here.
Exactly.
And then what's going to happen when the inflation hits me?
So
Before we get there.
Before we get there,
Yeah.
that's what the average ordinary person does when they run into some unexpected expenses.
Got it.
Governments don't have Visa to go to.
Right.
Governments have their central bank. And so when governments run into this exact same problem, no different, they have these other expenses that are piling up, some of which are luxuries, some of which are necessary. They don't have enough money in their back pocket. They go to their central bank and they say, I need you to print me this money. We're just going to make this up out of nowhere.
Yeah. We need more money. And then, like a lot of people, you might be out there thinking, why is there such a big deficit in the world? Why don't we just print out more money and pay off our own deficit? I mean, that makes sense, right? No. This is fifth grade social economics. But for those of you that were too stoned at that time to pay attention, we're going to circle back now, and it's going to make sense, right?
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
Because eventually what happens is if you do this too much, you get a $1 bill that is worth $10 billion. because all your money starts getting worthless.
Yeah.
Because the more of it you throw out there,
Yes.
the less of it is worth.
Yes.
The less value each dollar bill has.
So we can't really just print up thinking that it's going to solve our problems,
Exactly.
because it's actually making our problem worse.
Precisely. Just like the credit card is making your problem worse on an individual level by racking up this debt
Yes.
that you're never going to get out of. With these, when governments get in trouble, they pull this inflation routine and they solve their problem in the short term, but in the long term, it makes their money worthless.
So bring it back home. What's happening with us in our American?
So we have here
Did you?
a beat. No.
How did we get this?
So there's a story behind this.
There's because this is look first. You guys can't see. There's tape on here, right? This is actually the origin of COVID. This is where it started right here. COVID. This is COVID tested right
So-
here. Yeah.
I got the origin of COVID
Yeah.
in a subway. There is a very short story behind this.
Yeah.
I was in a subway waiting in line, and the guy in front of me is trying to pawn this beat up $100 off on the cashier.
Okay.
And the cashier says, "We ain't gonna take this. It's all beat up. It's all ripped up. It's got tape. You can't even see the stuff on it. You
Right.
know, we're not gonna take this.
Right.
This is silly."
Right.
And the guy said, all I got is this beat up 100, you know. And I said, "Okay, fine."
You bought it.
No. I had 250s and just traded it.
No way. You
I
trusted
just
him?
made
Just
change.
let me see this.
Well, you can see the watermark. Like you can see it's actual real bill. Like,
It is.
yeah. Like,
Okay, but
you
who?
can-
Who was gonna give up 250s for some stranger on the subway? That's not a trust in mankind. That's
Well,
not
I
a
mean,
trust in
it
mankind.
has, like, if you hold it up, you can actually see that it is real.
No, but still, it's off the street. You don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't know. But you took the risk.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a real risk because
You trusted.
Well, how I figured this, when I felt it felt like money and it didn't feel like paper.
Oh.
And I knew if he had just printed off on it on a printer or whatever, then it would feel like paper, but it
Yes.
felt like money.
So, in other words, the words that are on the dollar bill, "In God we trust," he really did trust in God and that this was real. Now, I will say this, and we will have an episode one day on how money is actually printed. I would like to have that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because that's a fascinating journey,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we should, you know. But anyhow, get back to so you swapped the guy,
Yes.
250s, you got the 100.
I swapped the guy 250s, I got the 100, and I tried to pawn it off on people that are like, "Hey, we ain't taking this
Right,
silly
right.
thing." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? They got a point.
Right.
I'm going to take it to the bank,
Okay.
and I am going to trade this in for a real 100 because they are going to
Yes.
be able to tell that it's real."
Yes.
And so I go in the bank, I wait in line outside the bank like everyone else,
Yes.
and they say, "You have to talk to the manager because we're not going to deal with this." I said, "All right, I got to talk
This
to
is
the manager."
interesting. This is getting real interesting here. I thought this had just happened to black people. This is so good. All right, this is good.
The manager then informs me that they do not take what they call "quote unquote" mutilated money because it's all beat up.
Yeah.
You have to send this in to the Federal Reserve. You have to fill out a form. You have to mail this in, and you have to do all this complicated stuff. And the Federal Reserve will verify that it's real and send you a nice, crisp $100 bill, and you'll be all fine.
Wow.
And I said, "This just isn't worth the trouble. Like, this is gonna. How many hours is this gonna take?"
Right, right. And then you gotta send it off. You gotta get a certified mail.
Yeah,
Or you
yeah.
gotta pay for that. That's like $6.95 or whatever. because
Exactly.
You're losing money.
I'm not-
You gotta get,
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Right.
This is a $100 bill, people.
It's a $100 bill.
This is a $100 bill, and it's not worth it to get a new one.
Think about
Because
that.
think about that. Exactly. Where did the value go with this $100? It's not like I can't get it fixed. I could, sure. I can fill out this form and send it in, but $100 used to be a lot of money.
Yeah.
And now $100, I don't even want to bother.
No, you don't worry about it.
What's going on with this?
I don't know.
It's exactly this.
Oh.
They have printed too much money. And the problem is, it doesn't matter why they print the money. It doesn't matter whether it's for a good reason, like the stimulus,
Right.
or a bad reason, like they're just paying themselves bribes.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter why. It's the same way Visa doesn't care why you swipe the credit card.
Right.
Visa doesn't care if you swipe the credit card to splurge on some
Right.
luxury or to pay the water bill.
Okay.
They could care less.
Now, we'll put this on pause. I want you to give me brief concise explanations of a couple different things that people are probably watching this want to know. If we have a trillions of dollar deficit, and we print off the money and pay off our deficit, how is that going to create inflation? Hold on to that. How does that create inflation? And follow through with, so I got a bill that's not worth as much as it was. Can't we just adjust everything else to the value of our dollar?
We could.
Okay, now you got 60 seconds. You got 60 seconds to explain both.
Both and six. I can do this.
Both.
All right.
1 minute each. 1 minute.
1 minute each. Okay, good. So, with the first one, so this is a very counterintuitive concept.
Yes.
And the reason it's counterintuitive is because it used to be different. Back way back in the old days, money was gold, and this is a literal sense.
Yeah, no, right, it was gold.
Yeah, they have what they say, there was the gold in Fort Knox. The gold really was in Fort Knox.
Right.
And each dollar bill had to be backed up by gold. And technically, if you wanted, you could go in the bank and say, I have a $100 bill, I want $100 worth of gold, and the bank would have to say, yep, right away. And they would take your $100 bill, they would give you $100 worth of gold, and that would be it.
Not today, though.
No,
I thought you meant back in. Okay.
No.
Right.
This was way back 100 years ago.
Good.
Today, that was called the quote-unquote gold standard.
Right.
And that means that the money supply was limited to something physical, something tangible.
Right.
It was limited to gold. There's only so much gold around.
So the money was actually a representation of the amount of gold that can back it.
Exactly.
Okay, go. You got 30 seconds.
Nowadays, money is not backed by gold. Money is just because they said so. That's what they need. When people say fiat currency, fiat just means I said so. And it is because the federal government can print more money
Because they say so.
Because they say so. So now the money is backed by nothing.
By nothing. By someone's ghastly words.
Exactly.
Okay.
By someone's ghastly words. That's it.
Okay.
And the reason they can't just take money out is because it's not just a matter of collecting dollar bills. They'd have to go into people's bank accounts and take that money out in order to actually shrink the money supply. And they're not going to do that.
No.
So it just keeps growing and compounding on itself, and it won't. The rate of expansion of the money supply is not slowing down.
Okay.
So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like someone who's just who's gotten over their head in debt.
Okay.
And they just keep swiping the credit card over and over until it gets so big and big and big.
Right.
It eventually is going to turn into one of these.
Do that right there. Okay. Which many of us can understand. All right, so that's it. We're going to put a cap on that.
The second part is, why can't we readjust the prices of that?
Yeah, exactly. Why can't we say, okay, well, we've overcharged here. Why don't we just drop the price of milk or something like that? Why can't we just make adjustments that would fit our dollar size and make everything else work?
Because that is called a price control. And economists do not like price control. Because if you have a price control, the free market, this is getting into kind of complicated economic stuff.
Right, with also capitalism and whatnot.
Exactly.
Okay,
if you have price controls, you have turned into communist China.
Got it.
So you're not allowed to do that in a free market.
Okay.
Yeah.
How, then, Nick, does this dollar and inflation go back to cryptocurrency?
So, the person or people who invented Bitcoin saw this was a problem. And so they programmed into Bitcoin that there's a limit. You can only have so many Bitcoins. So Bitcoin does not inflate. Bitcoin instead deflates, which is the opposite. It gets more value.
You mean there's no more Bitcoins that will be produced?
There's no, after it hits this limit, there is no more Bitcoins that
This limit that we're at, or
No.
there's a limit that's coming?
there is a limit that is coming.
Okay.
And that is coded into the Bitcoin program, and after that there will be no more Bitcoin, period. It's just the ones that are in circulation that can be traded around. It's a lot like the gold standard, where, I mean, technically you can mine a little bit more gold, but they use it up on jewelry and electronics and stuff. So,
okay. So eventually the Bitcoin, there's only so many more to buy. When it hits their maximum, that is it. And so therefore the value of that Bitcoin is kind of stabilized and can only get bigger in a sense because there's only so much of it.
Exactly. You got it. 100%.
Okay.
And
we're waiting for it. This is how I am, because we're going to walk through on one of these episodes. I'm going to take my hard-earned cash and I'm going to give it to you, and we're going to show what happens to my money off of different things. That I'll ask a question, hit my comfort zone. You'll answer with 4 different ways. You can do this, this, and this, and this, Stevie.
exactly.
And I'm going to say I choose D.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be like, okay, and we're going to watch what happens to my money in real time.
Exactly.
Okay.
And on all 4 of those, it's going to look like this. Now, anyone who can watch this is going to know who knows what Bitcoin is going to know what these are. What these
It's a
are,
barcode.
it's a barcode.
Yeah.
Now, what's in this barcode is 2 long numbers. Okay. Way back at this top, when we did the hash function, we used 10 and 5.
Yes.
For the real, that was just the example. For the real deal, we are using these. This is the number the Bitcoins go in, and this is the number they come out. Think of it like a funnel.
Okay.
This is how you put them in, this is how you get them out.
Okay.
This is called the public number, and this is called the private.
Does this have value?
This has $10 worth of Bitcoin.
If you scan it, you will have 10.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a very strange quirk of Bitcoin. If we leave that $10 of Bitcoin on there, anybody who scans this barcode, or the bottom barcode, can then spend that $10. So technically, if we leave it on there, then you could get robbed on air, live, just by someone scanning this. That actually happened once. Just by somebody scanning this bottom barcode, you now control this number on your phone. You control that Bitcoin. That's it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Technically, if you wanted to be real sneaky,
Yeah.
you can memorize this long, big thing of gibberish. If you wanted to know what to do, you can memorize this long number of gibberish. If you actually memorize it and set this piece of paper on fire, you are the only one in the world who can ever control that Bitcoin. It's crazy. This number,
And it comes to money. It never worked.
This is all the same, no matter whether it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, or one of the other ones.
Wow.
It's all the same meaning. This is your special public number that you give out to other people. This is your private number that says you own these, you control it.
Now at the top you have an actual phone number. What's that?
This is not for Bitcoin. This is for the ATM where this was purchased. So there are actual these only came around in the last 2 years.
Okay.
There are actual Bitcoin ATMs where you can take your $100. Take this on. You can take your cash, put it in here, and then it spits out this piece of paper. And this piece of paper says you own this Bitcoin.
This is the same thing as done.
The same thing as done. What you would really want to do is you put this on an app on your phone. And that's how you actually spend it. But if you want to keep them safe, because what a lot of people are concerned about is, hey, I have the app on my phone, what happens if my phone gets wet, what happens if my phone gets stolen, what happens if it gets broken, all kind of stuff could happen. So what we will go over next time is what's called seed phrase.
Seed, S-E-E-D?
S-E-E-D.
Okay.
And the seed phrase is a secret code that will let you generate all the numbers that your phone has come up with.
Okay.
And this sounds very, very counterintuitive,
Okay.
but it's real easy once you break it down.
Okay.
The seed phrase is a list of 12 or 24 totally random words out of the dictionary.
Totally random words out of the dictionary.
So all you do is you go in a dictionary, point to a random word, go to the dictionary, point to a random word, do it over and over again until you have 24.
Got it.
Now each
Any word at all.
any word at all, doesn't matter. Each letter corresponds to a number, right? So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4,
Yeah.
etc. So that means that combination of random letters by those words creates your secret code. It's just a mnemonic. It's just
Right.
a way for you to remember it,
Right.
because otherwise you would have some
Yeah,
big, long number.
I get it.
And that's how, even if you lose your phone, because every time you set up one of these wallet programs, it's going to make you write down all those words. And as long as you write those words down on paper and you put them in a drawer somewhere, it doesn't matter if your phone gets lost, it doesn't matter if it's wet, doesn't mean because it's not on your phone. It's all the numbers.
All right, so there it is. There's that for you guys to take a look at. You can take a look at that. That's really good. Now, next time we get together, I have so many. I have volumes and volumes of questions, things that not just me, but I'm sure lots of common folks with money have questions about. I want to talk about soon. I want to talk about different apps that we can use. I have my personal Bitcoin is in a thing called Coinbase, right? And so, and then I've been turning other people onto it because I get free like Litecoin or some other stuff like that as an incentive. So I have a pool of about 5 people that I've kind of turned onto Coinbase because I can get a free thing here and there. So I want to talk about the good, bad, and ugly of all of that, and then actually I want to set up something and actually start. How much money should I give you to start off? What's a good amount?
How much money do you want to make?
Ooh, now that's really good. That's really good. That is really good. That's really good question. How much money do I want to make?
And the point is,
This is amazing.
when you have this inflation, Bitcoin goes up when the dollar goes down. And you know when the dollar goes down? All the time. Because they are printing more and more and more money all the time. And the reason this isn't some nefarious scheme, it's just
The way it is.
It's just the way it is. It's the government saying, well, we don't have enough money.
All right.
We are going to keep printing.
So let's say I want to start off small. I want to make 10,000.
You want to make 10,000?
I want to make 10,000. I mean, ultimately, I would love to be able to walk away with this and its real value, 10 billion. Now, 10 billion is a lot of money. I don't know if I can do 10 billion. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. I'm not mad at 10 billion. I'm not mad at 10 billion. We can start small.
Exactly.
A good reach for anybody would be $10,000. So when we get back, Nick's going to help me figure out what amount and what do I need to do if my reach is going to be $10,000. Is that feasible?
Yes, that is absolutely feasible.
Okay. Is it going to take me a long time?
It may take you a few years. So, just for example, the factors which determine how fast it's going to go up is the rate of inflation of the dollar, how fast this goes down,
Rate of inflation.
and how fast Bitcoin gets picked up by other people.
Got it. Okay.
Because
The more people, the faster it goes.
the more people, the faster it goes.
Okay, good.
Think what gives the dollar value. The dollar has value because
People.
everybody uses it.
Yeah.
Because people.
Yeah.
So the more people use Bitcoin, the more the value is going to go up.
Got it. So we're going to expand on that, and thank you guys very much for tuning in on this really super cool show we created.
Awesome.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it.